Hi, it's Janine Turner, and welcome to Front Porch Philosophy. Let's go retro. How you doing? Today we're talking about Epicurus. Yes, we are Epicurus. How you doing? Okay, so I think I'm losing daylight here. The sun's going down really quickly. I tried to hook up a camera, but it didn't work. It's really hard to focus on yourself by yourself. But I do want to talk about Epicurus today. But you know what we do here at Front Porch Philosophy? What do we do first? First of all, we're trying to cultivate conversations, the art of the conversation. So I chat with you, and then I hope that you'll take it, whatever we talk about, and then call your friends, have a little weekend coffee, do whatever, have a little Front Porch Philosophy, so that we can start a trend here. Because I don't know about you, but the world has become so incredibly chaotic and disturbed and negative. It's good to have just have some good old-fashioned conversation, philosophical conversation. So what do? We take a deep breath. Are you ready? Let's take a deep breath. Wow, that really works. Try that in the workplace. Try that when you're in a middle of a difficult situation. Teach it to your kids. It's really wonderful. Meditation, deep breathing, prayer. We talked this week about the cycle of prayer. Don't forget to visit my God on the Go daily 1-minute inspirations. They're all over my social media. It's that's a voiceover. It's just voice. But it's also going to be archived at my Janine Turner Front Porch Philosophy YouTube channel. Janine Turner Front Porch Philosophy YouTube channel. I'll be there, and eventually I'll have it all kinds of places. But yeah. So have you checked that out yet? My God on the Go. Here we go. We're talking about Epicurus, and remember, he believed that we were a collision of atoms. This is a book by Samuel Stumpf, Socrates Desart. Thank you, Mr. Stumpf, for this great and amazing book, and I'm not being paid to promote it. So he talked about we're a bunch of atoms. There is no God, so why really worry? Just enjoy your life, and pleasure was his. But he didn't believe that all pleasure. He didn't believe in gluttonous pleasure, and he said what we talked about yesterday, which of course is at my Janine Turner Front Porch Philosophy YouTube channel if you missed it, the banishing mere opinions to which are due the greatest disturbance of the spirit. We talked all about that yesterday and how we're really dealing with that in America today. But then he goes on to talk about pleasure. So this is really interesting. I want to read it to you. This is from Samuel Stumpf. Epicurus did not mean to deprecate the pleasures of the body, but meant only to emphasize that too great a concern with these pleasures were both unnatural and the surest way to unhappiness and pain. So when we focus too much on happiness and too much on pleasure, it can lead to pain. Certain kinds of bodily pleasures could never be fully satisfied, he said, and if such pleasures required continuous indulgence, it followed that a person's pursuing such a pleasure would by definition always be unsatisfied and would therefore constantly suffer some pain. So if, for example, a person wanted more money, more public acclaim, more exotic foods, a higher position, he would always be dissatisfied with his present situation, would always suffer some pain. The wise man, on the other hand, is able to determine what is the minimum his nature requires and is able easily and quickly to satisfy these needs. I thought that was really interesting. So the wise man can minimize his pleasure and understand what he minimally needs for pleasure, and not to always be thinking about more. And the more we focus on those things, pursuing these pleasures, by that definition, the more pain we would have. And I find that's really true in our culture, and I guess I can correlate it from me with the pressure that I felt in Hollywood to have a perfect body and a perfect everything. And fascinatingly, when I finally stopped trying to be perfect was when I booked Northern Exposure, and I didn't weigh anymore. I didn't try to starve myself anymore, and I wore all these parkas and these crazy thick boots, and I had that short hair, and yet I was picked as, ironically, right, most beautiful, 10 sexiest and all this stuff, as if that matters. But the point is, I wasn't in a bathing suit. I wasn't a stick thin. I was just being who I was, and that's actually when it worked, right? When it was the most, when people appreciated that. They found that it was my essence more, who my character was, and Maggie O'Connell, but who I was really more of the appeal than the perfect. And I find that when I would try to be perfect, there was never an end to it. Like, oh, I've got to be thin enough. Well, then my nails have to be perfect. Well, then my hair has to be perfect. Well, then everything else has to be perfect. And I just realized it was chasing after the wind. Oh my gosh, that's from the Bible. I love it. It's King Solomon always talks about all is vanity and chasing after the wind. All is vanity and chasing after the wind. And so it's sort of like all is vanity, and vanity is like chasing after the wind. There's never an end to it. So I find that when we try to be perfect, or try to have the most amount of money, or to try to win other people's approval, or whatever these things are that we all these magazines, and we look and we think, oh, we need to look like that. And today, what I deal with now is with the aging process. And I'm not, we talked about this 2 weeks ago, right? I'm just not going to do any of that stuff to my face. And, but ironically, the magazines and everything just show us people who have, and so that's the barometer, right? That's what we're supposed to live up to that. But what is that? I mean, that's all vanity and chasing after the wind. That's not really what life is all about. So interestingly, Epicurus, who believed we were a bunch of atoms, a collision of atoms, and didn't believe in God and believed in pleasure, he still believed that we shouldn't be gluttonous, and that if we focus on pleasure too much, or if we focus on perfection, luxuries, and wealth, and fame, or all these things, the perfect body, whatever we find, it will always lead to disappointment. That there needs to be a rational, wise minimum. And I think that there's a balance, right? A balance about what's really important. Yeah, we should take pride in our bodies. Yes, we should eat well and feed our bodies appropriately. But to really get bogged down into looking perfect, or even being perfect, God forgives us, and we talk a lot about that on God on the Go. We're just chasing down a rabbit hole. Isn't that a saying? Okay, I hope you have a wonderful, blessed, stress-free, philosophical, appreciate yourself, love yourself for who you are day.